Good evening, South Brunswick. I'd like to call to order the South Brunswick School District Board of Education meeting for today, January 5th. There we go. Rise to salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Act was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the board secretary has caused notice of this meeting, including date, time, and location, to be posted in the South Brunswick Public Library. The board office filed with the township clerk and communicated to the Home News Tribune and the Star Ledger. Could I get a roll call, please? Mrs. Deepa Karthik? Mr. Raja Krishna? Mr. Mike Mitchell?
Present.
Mr. Barry Nathanson?
Here.
Dr. Smith Raj?
Here.
Mrs. Lisa Rogers?
Present.
We have a quorum. At this time, I'd like to announce the election results of the Board of Education for the general election November 8th, 2022. Laura Hernandez, total vote 5,545. Julie Ferrara, total vote 5,097. Joyce Mehta, total vote 4,690. Raymond Keener, total vote 3,935. Alicia Khan, total vote 5,104. And James Lavin, total vote 4,031. We had a total write-in of 106 votes for a total votes casted of 28,508. At this time, I'd like to call our election winners over towards the podium, where I will provide them their oaths of office and swear them in as new board members for the South Brunswick Township Board of Education. Everybody. So we're going to do this singleton, one at a time.
Okay.
Makes it easier.
Okay.
It takes away some of the, we have a capacity crowd here tonight with a lot of spectators, video cameras everywhere. We're documenting all of this awesomeness. So we're going to do this singleton one-on-one so each individual can, it is, thank you, read their oaths, and we'll do a couple signatures. Alicia, you'll go first, right? So you're going to just read the statement here. When you're finished, and then we'll do a signature, and you'll be all set. So you raise right here.
I, Alicia Khan, do solemnly affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and this state, under the authority of the people, so help me God. I, Alicia Khan, do solemnly affirm that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of member of a Board of Education, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of that office according to the best of my ability. So help me God. I affirm and declare that I am not disqualified as a voter pursuant to R.S.19:4-1.
Congratulations. Welcome aboard. So, little packet here. I need you to, when you have a second, sign both of these. Keep one for yourself and take one for you. Okay. Good. Thank you. Our next elected board member is Laura Hernandez. Same for you.
I, Laura Hernandez, do solemnly affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear the true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and this state under the authority of the people, so help me God. I, Laura Hernandez, do solemnly affirm that I possess the qualifications prescribed by the law for the office of member of the Board of Education, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of that office according to the best of my ability. So help me God. I affirm and declare that I am not disqualified as a voter pursuant to RS 19-4-1.
We have a seat at the dais for you. Yeah, there's an envelope for your name. Our next board member sworn in is Julie Ferrara.
I, Julie Ferrara, do solemnly affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and this state under the authority of the people. So help me God. I, Julie Ferrara, do solemnly affirm that I possess the qualifications prescribed by the law for the office of member of a Board of Education, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of that office according to the best of my ability. So help me God. I affirm and declare that I am not disqualified as a voter pursuant to RS 19-4-1.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you so much.
Any other second, you just sign one copy?
Okay, great, thank you.
Good to see you. Nice round of applause for our new board members. At this time, I'd like to call for an approval of the agenda for the reorganization portion of the meeting. Motion, Mrs. Rogers, second, Mrs. Smith-Raj. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. At this time, I'd like to move for nominations of the position of President of the Board of Education for the South Brunswick Township Board of Ed. Can I get a name, or excuse me, and anybody, nominations from anybody?
I'd like to move Lisa Rogers, if I can get a second.
Nominated by Mr. Mitchell. Second by Mr. Nathanson. Do I have any other nominations for the position of President for the Board of Education? At this time, can I get a motion to close?
So moved.
Motion to close by Mr. Nathanson,
Second.
second by Mr. Mitchell. Do a roll call vote for the nomination or posing Mrs. Lisa Rogers as the President of the Board of Education for South Brunswick Township Schools. Mrs. Julie Ferrara, yes, no, or abstain?
Abstain?
Mrs. Laura Hernandez,
Yes.
Mrs. Deepa Karthik,
Yes.
Miss Alicia Khan,
Yes.
Mr. Raja Krishna, absent, Mr. Mike Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Barry Nathanson,
Yes.
Dr. Smith Raj,
Yes.
Mrs. Lisa Rogers.
Yes.
Motion carries. Welcome, Mrs. Lisa Rogers, President of Board of Education, South Brunswick Township Schools. Do a little seat shifting here while Mrs. Rogers takes over.
Thank you, Dave.
I just want to say thank you to the others. Okay, I'm just going to take a minute here to say thank you.
Lisa?
Sure. He's gonna run.
At this time, I'm going to call for nominations for the position of Vice President for the South Brunswick Township Board of Education. Do I get a nominee? Yes?
I'd like to nominate Smith-Raja, Dr. Smith-Raja.
Dr. Smith-Raj. Here we go.
Raj, for the, I have a short speech. So
Got it.
I'll go a little longer than Mr. Mitchell. Smither has been a valuable member of this board for the past 2 years. Dr. Raj has served both on the Curriculum and the Facilities Committee, and as past president, I had the opportunity to serve on both committees and watch her blossom, and she really dives into a subject and gets the information that's needed and becomes knowledgeable. And I saw it particularly with the evaluation of the health center. She was really good with the complex numbers and stats coming from that. And she was able to help other committee members with the conversation regarding the facility. Dr. Raj continues to be a top board member. I had the lucky part of my last year, was I was able to sit next to Dr. Raj, and we were able to talk during meetings about different subjects. And I know she's going to blossom as vice president and be Lisa's right-hand person. So I put in nomination for vice president, Dr. Smith-Raj.
Thank you, Mr. Nathanson. Can I have a second for that? Seconded by Mr. Mitchell. Any other nominations for the seat of Vice President for the South Brunswick Township Board of Education? Seeing none, I'd like to take a motion to close nominations. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Nathanson, seconded by?
Second.
Mr. Mitchell. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. I'm going to do a roll call vote for the nomination of Dr. Smith-Raj for Vice President of the School Board, South Brunswick Township Schools. Mrs. Julie Ferrara, yes, no, abstain. Yes. Mrs. Laura Hernandez.
Yes.
Mrs. Deepa Karthik. Yes. Ms. Alicia Khan.
Yes.
Mr. Raja Krishna. Absent. Mr. Mike Mitchell.
Yes.
Mr. Barry Nathanson.
Yes.
Dr. Smith-Raj. Yes. Mrs. Lisa Rogers.
Yes.
Motion carries. Welcome. Dr. Smith-Raj, Vice President of Board of Education. At this time, I'm going to call for a motion to close the reorganization meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Nathanson.
Discussion.
Yes. Second by, did I get a second? Dr. Raj. Discussion?
Yes.
Mrs. Rogers. You have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Pawlowski. First, I just want to extend a thank you to all the members for your support and confidence in me. These last few years have been tough, but we stayed the course. We learned so much when times are challenging, when we are tired, or we feel that integrity is being questioned. That being said, this board remained focused and steadfast. I would also like to thank my husband and children who are here tonight, along with one of my second daughter, Melissa, and all my friends for being there as well to support me. I also want to give a quick shout out to the Girl Scout Troop 80367, who's here in the audience tonight. Again, thank you for your support. I also want to thank Scott, the administration team, and the South Brunswick staff, the entire staff of this district, for their continued efforts in focusing on the students and the parents of this district. Finally, I also want to thank the spouses and the children of each member of this 15-member board for your support and your patience. Knowing that we have you, our family, behind us means a great deal. I wish you all a very happy 2023. Again, welcome to the new board members, and I look forward to being your president this year. I know Smitha would also like to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. A quick word of thanks. Mr. Nathanson, thank you for your generous introduction and nomination, more than generous actually. And thank you to my colleagues on the board for all your support, and thank you to my family also, and thank you to the administration for everything. Thanks and Happy New Year.
And thank you, Mike.
Do I have any other discussion? At this time, call for a motion. We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor to move to, or to close the reorganization portion of the meeting? So moved. I have the motion. I say all in favor.
Aye.
Any objections? Any abstentions? None. Regular reorg is closed. I'm also going to ask for a motion to open and move to the regular portion of our agenda for this evening. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Mitchell, second by Dr. Raj. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? Seeing none, I'm going to turn over the gavel to Mrs. Lisa Rogers, our new board president, South Brunswick Township Board of Education.
Thank you. Okay, we'll be moving on now to the regular agenda for the meeting of January 5th of the South Brunswick School District. Our next order of business is for the report of our student representative, Ms. Ria Krishna.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Happy New Year and congratulations to our new board members. So in the high school, Student Council has begun preparing for our Blacklight Dance on January 27th. This dance is in support for our fundraiser, Imagine, a grief support center. Packets will be sold soon and we hope to see you there. DECA will be competing in a regional competition tomorrow, Friday, January 6th at Keene University. Over 100 South Brunswick High School students will be representing DECA. Pirandello Players Winter Play Alice in Wonderland will be taking place next week on January 12th, 13th, and 14th at 6:30 p.m. in the SBHS auditorium. Save the date for Asian Cultural Club's annual show, Temptation, on February 24th. Our tickets will be sold soon. One of our fellow Student Council members, Athira Kunath, will be running for an executive position in New Jersey State Student Council on January 11th. We wish her our best as we support her through this campaign. We are also looking forward to hearing the results of Robotics and Science Olympiad as they begin their new competition season. We have a lot of Spirit Days coming up this week, this month. On the 23rd, we have Zoom Fit, 24th, Disney, 25th, Country vs. Country Club, 26th, Black and Gold, and 27th, Class Color, we will also be celebrating the pep rally. Moving on to athletic news, boys bowling current record is 11-1-1, and they finished second in the Simon Baker Challenge Tournament. Girls bowling has a current record of 9-3. Upcoming home games in our school include wrestling versus East Brunswick, New Brunswick, North Brunswick on the 7th, bowling versus East Brunswick on the 9th, boys basketball versus Old Bridge on the 10th, swim versus Old Bridge on the 11th, girls basketball versus East Brunswick on the 12th, ice hockey versus Red Bank Regional, and wrestling versus Perth Amboy on the 13th, and lastly, girls basketball versus Monroe on the 14th. We're collecting spring sports forms now, and they are due no later than February 17th. Please know that new forms must be submitted for each season, and information can be found on our high school website. Thank you so much. That's all I have for today.
Thank you, Ms. Krishnan. Is there any questions for our student representative? Nope. Thank you so much. Okay, our next order of business is the report of the superintendent of schools, Mr. Scott Fetter.
All right, well, thanks for all coming out tonight. I'm sure you're here to support, not me, the 3 new members. So I want to welcome Laura Hernandez, Alicia Khan, and Julie Ferrara, congratulations. And also congratulations to Lisa and Smitha. Great job, and we'll have some fun this year. So I'm going to get right to some good news. If you've been hearing me talk about preschool, that we were awarded this year over $2 million to run a full-day preschool, free to our families. Right now, we have room for about 150 students for this year, and then we're looking to continue to expand that. At our last meeting, we gave a full presentation on where we are with this and where we're going. But what's coming up is we have opening day on the 17th, which means we will have all of our preschools that are currently half-day programs be moving to full-day programs on the 17th. Last night, we held a meeting. We had over 90 participants. These were existing preschool parents who had questions and wanted some more clarity and details. We held that meeting last night, and we had some board members there as well. Thank you guys for coming out. And we were able to answer most of people's questions and continue to move forward with that process. But this is really exciting. While this year is certainly a haul to get us open and do it the way we're doing it, we hope to be able to move to, within 5 years, 800 seats for preschool. Now, if you think about what that means to a family, who in the audience has paid for preschool before for their child? Yeah. So, sorry. I was one of the parents that paid for preschool as well. And now what happens is that will be free. Now, we won't have room for every kid in the first early stages, but eventually what that means for this community, if you consider the value of such a thing. Normally, a preschool could cost anywhere between about $5,000 to $6,000, that's probably on the very, very low end, to upwards of over $10,000 per child to go to preschool. So imagine our families, our young families who've moving to the town or deciding where they want to move, can move to a town where the first 2 years, 3 and 4 years old, are completely free. It's worth everything to a community. It gives us a chance to have our families and get to know our kids 2 years early. It's just tremendous opportunity. But like any road that has a good reward, we have a hard road to go. It has not been easy to get us open by January 17th, but we're doing it, and it will be successful. But again, it comes with some bumps in the road. But we'll get through them, and we're just very excited to do this. So we're going to keep talking about this because it's very exciting for us. Next year, we have put in to increase our number from 150 regular education students to 250 for next year, for September. One of the things that I know people are interested in is how are you going to choose which children? We're working through a process for that. And right now on our website, you can log in. If you are a family that has, next year we'll have a 3 or 4 year old, to log in and go ahead and register for the lottery. We're going to get back to families in February. Right now, all of our focus on preschool is about getting the doors open on January 17th. Our next movement will be how this is going to develop and our lottery system for September. So that's where we are. We're very excited about this, and we think it's been an amazing thing for our community. David, Suzanne, huge in getting our initial grant done, and we have a team of people working on this. The teachers, everyone's going through a lot right now, and I can't say enough about their professionalism in getting this done, so very impressive. All right, I'm going to move to thank you. Thank you. All right. You're welcome back next month. We also have now an upcoming parent academy that's on mathematics. It's for K-8 families. So math is always a big topic. So if you are interested in learning more about our K-8 math programming, please, it's Thursday, January 12th at 7 o'clock. It's right here. Actually, no, it's in Crossroads North, but it's in the cafeteria this time. So again, we hope to get a lot of people there for that, and you can register in advance as well. So a lot of information will be shared that night. So I don't know if any of you watch NBC News. However, we were just on NBC News. We just had about a 2 or 3 minute spot actually on NBC News, all about the high school and what's called our global studies class as we're working through our media literacy. The governor recently just signed a bill mandating media literacy, how people use the internet and all that sort. And our librarians at the high school are front runners at this. And they actually came here to do a spot on it at NBC News, national news actually, on this. And we had 3 of our students get interviewed. It was really great. So if you don't get a chance, I believe we already put the link on our website. It's also been tweeted and Facebooked out. If you don't have it, you don't have access, you want it, shoot me an email tonight. I'll shoot it to you tonight or tomorrow morning so that you can see it as well. It's really a great spot with our star Lisa Manganello, who's one of our librarians at the high school, on center stage. It was a great experience to watch that and just have that be represented of what South Brunswick brings to the table for not only South Brunswick students, but the state in general. So it was really impressive. Another big important message. We always are looking for people to work in the district, so we're going to have job fair coming up. So if that interests you, or you have a friend, take a look. It'll be on January 18th at 1 to 4. We'll do it here. We've had success so far in our earlier job fairs, so we're going to keep doing them until we get fully staffed in all of our areas. So again, if you know anyone looking to work in a school district, send them our way. We'll put people to work. And reminder, we're off on January 16th in observance of Martin Luther King Day. And my last part is actually going to go to my friend David over here, our business administrator, who's going to talk about other great news. We were awarded what's called stabilization aid. Dave, take it over.
All right. So we were awarded stabilization aid, and if anybody looked at the patch or nj.com, you would see that our stabilization aid that we achieved this year from the great state of New Jersey equated to just under $3 million. So as much as the $3 million, and I'm never going to say we're not absolutely happy and thrilled to receive $3 million from the state of New Jersey, I do want to just reiterate with everybody that with S2 and the state of New Jersey reducing our state aid year after year by millions, approximately $8 million over the next 5 years, we're looking at almost a $40 million deficit. So the $3 million that we attained this year, as much as it's so much appreciative and going to help out dramatically, it's also just one-time money. Stabilization aid isn't a grant that is guaranteed year after year. So when you talk about running an organization and you think about getting $3 million, if it's sustainable money that we know is going to come in year after year, we could do things like hire people and know that we'll have that funding to pay for people's salaries. But without that guarantee, which stabilization aid is not guaranteed, we had some districts last year got $14, $15 million, and this year got $400,000. You know, it's interesting on how the state determines who gets what. And it's always interesting when it comes to state aid when the state determines who gets what. But South Brunswick's still in a little bit of a dire situation when it comes to the budget and financial stability. I would say that as much as the stabilization aid grant was written by me in my office, I have to give kudos to my office. I shifted gears in the business office about 2 years ago when we came into this great S2, it's not so great, S2 funding formula, where we understood that we were going to see dramatic cuts in our state aid. We shifted towards a revenue generating model where everybody in my office, in their position, what they do, they look to generate either savings or revenue through grants, through working with FEMA, through extraordinary aid. Stabilization aid is a perfect example. This was a massive grant that we had to write and provide a lot of documentation back to the state of New Jersey, a lot of which they already had, to make sure that we actually qualified for it. We have our health center is another revenue generator that's going to kick into gear next year, and we have people, Courtney Brown in my office is working diligently with the health center to accomplish that. So everybody in my office, in the business office in South Brunswick Township School District, is really looking for ways to save money or generate revenue for the district because of this S2 funding situation that we find ourselves in. So as much as it's a wonderful thing that the district has received the $3 million in state aid, or excuse me, stabilization aid, we are still seeing dramatic cuts to our budget through state aid. And I'd like to also mention that at this time, over the past 5 years, we haven't truly gone after or dramatically changed any type of educational program for any student within the district, if not we've improved those programs over the course of the past 5 years while seeing our budget dramatically cut. So as much as it's a hey, hooray, it's also a hey, ho-hum, we're still kind of in a tough spot. So that's my report on stabilization aid. Thank you.
Just to reiterate the one point Dave made, so if our state aid was $23.5 million, and it's going to be dropped to about $15 million, that means each year we don't have that $8+ million to spend. That's year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, forever. That's permanent. So when you get one-time $3 million money, which is very nice, one-time $3 million money comes nowhere near offsetting minus 40, minus 48 over 6 years, minus 54 over, just, it's never stops, 56, never stops. So we have a really good, process of how we manage that, and we will use the $3 million and it's going to go well. It'll hopefully delay some reductions in programming that we were expecting to face for next year. So we will see how that works as we go through it. It leads me into the last part, which is we have a team of the community working with us on a budget committee, and that's about 40 people who've been committed, and we have one more meeting scheduled in January to go over and go through all the different ways we can look at how we can manage our fiscal situation. Certainly the $3 million will help. So thanks, Dave, for all your work and all the work of your office. And with that, I close my report.
Great. Any questions for Mr. Fetter or Mr. Kowalski? Nope. Okay, we will move on. So the next order of business are public comments on agenda items only, things that we have on the agenda. So I need to read the public comment statement before we ask for those to come to the podium. So the Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on school matters of community interest. Complete copies of the rules that govern this portion of the meeting are available to the public at the back of the room, or you can obtain an advanced copy by contacting the board office during regular business hours. We reserve the right to limit each speaker to no more than 3 minutes. Mr. Prowalski will indicate when you have approximately 30 seconds remaining. It is our plan to listen to each member of the public. We will note all questions and comments made. Once all questions and comments from all members of the public are made, the Board of Education will respond, if necessary, to questions or comments in the most timely and efficient manner available. Please consider not repeating comments and questions made by other members of the public. When you approach the podium, I ask that you state your name, your place of residence, and your group affiliation. Please remember this is public comments on agenda items only. There will be a second opportunity for the public on make a comment on any matter. Mr. Pawlowski, do we have any members of the public who pre-registered?
No, we have no pre-registrations at this time.
Thank you. Is there any members in the audience who wish to make a public comment? You can raise your hand. Nope. Okay. Then I will move to close that portion of the agenda of the public comments on agenda items only. At this point, our next order of business is old business, and we have no old business at this time. So we move on to the next, which is new business. We do have a couple items to discuss for new business, but before I move on, I was wondering if there's anyone that has any comments for new business other than the retreat, which is what we need to speak about. No? Okay. So we're going to move on to two things, actually, I have. The first is to the new board members. Again, we welcome you, and we look forward to working with each of you. As a reminder, please make sure that you are scheduled for the NJSBA new board member training orientation. Also, during the retreat, you will also receive a South Brunswick board member guide from this board for reference throughout the year. For those that are in their second and third year as members, please make sure you also scheduled for the appropriate governance training if you haven't done so already. Also, to the board, seating arrangements right now are temporary, and they will also be finalized at the next meeting. Okay, moving on to the retreat. So it has come to the board's attention that 2 members are unavailable for the January 19th retreat. So in order to ensure that all are present, we need to move the date. Originally, we had invited Patricia Reese, NJSBA, to participate, but due to her availability, we are going to have her present at a regularly scheduled board meeting regarding social media protocol, along with our law firm, no, I can't get that one out, law firm, Porzio, who will present the required ethics review. It is my understanding that members are available after January 22nd. So in order to ensure the retreat is completed in January, we need to decide on a date in January. That being said, as a side note, several members requested that the committee structure be part of the retreat. So if committee meetings are scheduled prior to the retreat, we need to decide to either cancel them or hold them with prior members. I do not want to place individuals in committees only to have to reassign them if we choose to do anything with the committee structure. So I'm asking this board, the members of the board, that we choose a date by either polling this evening or doing a doodle poll and have it closed by end of business tomorrow, 5 p.m. So I'm going to put this out to the board for discussion to see if you want to do a poll now or if you want to do a doodle poll. Mr. Nathanson.
I think at this point that a doodle poll is more appropriate. I left my phone in the car, so I wouldn't be distracted this evening. So I don't have my calendar here. So and this way I can coordinate with all my various activities to make sure that I'm open on doodle poll. And I understand, Madam Chair, that you're going to give us like 1 or 2 dates, and we can figure out who can attend either or.
Yes. Mr. Pawlowski?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just for everybody's information, new board members, the Doodle Poll is a website where we put up a bunch of dates, and you just basically go through and click off the dates you're available, and the times are already done. So we'll send that link out to you via email that you have with Marion Murphy on file. So it's not just sit and doodle on a piece of paper. We're actually sending you a website where you'll be able to provide some dates where you're available.
The email, just so new board members, all email communication as of tonight will only come to your SB Schools email. You will not receive any email from the district to any of your personal emails after now that you've been official.
Right.
We only go to SB Schools.
Yes.
I agree with Mr. Nathanson. A doodle poll will be more convenient at this point in time.
Okay. Shall we then confirm by making a motion to do a doodle poll? Second?
Second.
All in favor? Any nay? Okay, then that's what we'll do. So again, I'm just going to reaffirm that it will be sent out tomorrow morning. Hopefully, Mr. Fetter, Ms. Murphy can do that. And I really want to try to close it by 5 p.m. tomorrow so we can nail the date down. Thank you. Any other comments for new business? All right, then we will move on. The consent agenda review walkthrough. Mr. Pawlowski, you are on.
It's a very short agenda this evening. We had a couple motions for an IDEA grant. We had a competitive contract process that we need to board approve. We had a purchase over the bid limit, a contract with Cisco Data Communications, which is an E-rate awarded contract, so that's board approved. A couple of professional services and some field trips. We also had the HIB report that was at one point presented and then board approved. And I want to bring attention to the last motion that's on your consent agenda, 110. We are applying for an application waiver for the preschool program that is required for space requirements for the facilities. So the state came out with some crazy square footages that are necessary in preschool classrooms. None of the districts in the state of New Jersey can meet those expectations. So everybody's doing this waiver, and with the waiver, we're not scrunching our kids into a closet, but we're not providing them 1,000 square feet as the state requires either. So classrooms appropriate size, but that one got tossed on there at the very end. And we also had 1.11 with some transportation routes that are going to be board approved, that need to be board approved because they're actually starting January 17th before our next board meeting. Your consent agenda.
Great. So may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? And a second? Any discussion or questions for Mr. Pawlowski? Dr. Raj?
1.6. Yeah, 1.6, I believe it is for one student, right? Correct. So is this the most efficient way to transport that one student?
Unfortunately, it's
It
the
is
way
the
we're
only
required to transport one student. We're currently, if you saw in my update, we're looking for jointers along the routes with
Yeah,
other
yeah.
school districts.
Yeah.
But at this time, we're not finding any. But once we get a jointure, that cost is cut in half.
So, and it also says per diem is per day.
Per day.
Or per trip,
Every day,
every day.
yeah, till the end of the school year. Yeah. Yes.
And also, you did touch upon 1.10. I just wanted clarification. It was just a curiosity. So it is very weird the way they have specified it, and immediately after specification, there is a provision for waiver. You know, I found it funny. But what exactly is the issue here? Is it
there's-
square footage?
Yes,
or
this-
the toilet?
Square footage, they want us to have rooms that are 950 square feet. That's not
Is
going to
it too
happen.
big? Okay.
And anything below 750 square feet, we have to get a waiver from the state. So the waiver will be granted. So it's literally a process to say exactly what you said, Dr. Raj.
Just paperwork.
Here's a rule that we're not going to make you follow, but we're going to make you write paperwork to not follow it. Twice.
Yeah.
We've already done this already. We have to do it again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Raj. Any other questions? Mr. Nathanson?
Not a question, just a comment. Point out something to new board members. When you scrolling on the portal and you're looking at the agenda, the HR hires and people retiring are further down because it's confidential. It's not within the normal agenda. So that being said, Donna, a longtime teacher, Donna Sagranese is retiring. She's been a staple in this building since 2000. So she taught in this district for 22 years. I want to wish her the best.
Any other comments? Very good. Mr. Pulaski, may we do a roll call on approving the consent agenda?
Mrs. Julie Ferrara,
Approve.
Mrs. Laura Hernandez,
Approve.
Mrs. Deepa Karthik,
Yes.
Ms. Alicia Khan, Mr. Raja Krishna, absent. Mr. Mike Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Barry Nathanson,
Yes.
Dr. Smith Raj,
Yes.
Mrs. Lisa Rogers.
Yes?
Motion carries.
Very good, thank you. Next order of business is board committee and liaison reports. I'm going to ask the business operations chair right now, Mr. Nathanson, until we do a restructure. Do you have any comments or updates for the business operations committee?
No, I gave my update at the last meeting. We had a meeting a week prior to that. We were supposed to have a meeting on Tuesday, but I'm going to have, per our conversation, all conversations with the board, most likely we're going to move it to February because it was pretty, we went over everything
Okay,
that we most likely will have to at this point.
very good. Thank you. And now for the HR committee, we do not have the chair with us any longer, so I'll just ask Ms. Karthik, is there anything that you want to provide an update for as a member, you or Mr. Mitchell, for HR?
I don't have any specific update at this moment, Mrs. Rogers, but I think our next meeting is going to be in the first quarter of 2023 as we decided that this is one specific meeting that doesn't meet as frequently. So our next meeting is somewhere in the first quarter of this year.
Very good.
We haven't.
It's January 25th.
We don't have a date yet because
It's January 25th.
It was scheduled for January 25th.
Yes.
So the question would be, we'll probably hold off on that meeting as
Right.
well. Okay,
I think with committees,
yeah.
we just probably
We'll
should
just do it.
just-
Yep. Okay, and then finally, the Education Committee, myself and Smitha and Raja were on that committee. We did cancel the December meeting because of an executive meeting, and we also will be holding off on that meeting. I do have one comment that I need to make on negotiations. We are currently still in the middle of negotiations for 4 unions, custodial, paras, technicians, behavioral technicians, and administration. So I am hesitant. I spoke with, various members, and we think we should just continue to move forward and get a date on the books for the negotiations committee. And at this point, for the custodial committee, I have already recused myself for a family member, and I'm going to ask Barry to be the chair of that custodial meeting committee. And Smitha, Raja, and Deepa, if you would also be on that committee if you want. If not, let me know. Mike, if you would be so kind as to chair the administration committee, that would be with Deepa, Barry, and Smitha. Again, if you guys cannot do it, let me know, because we have to move forward and get confirmation this month. For the paras and the behavioral technicians, we're going to have Deepa, Smitha, and Barry. I will chair that committee since I'm on that committee already. Again, if you cannot do this, I'll follow this up in minutes tomorrow to confirm that you can do this. And also, we want to work with Mr. Fetter and the unions in obtaining a date for these negotiation committees. Okay? Any questions on that? Sure.
Correct.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Yes,
What
I
were-
have you.
What were the other committees?
I not.
Because I'm on a lot of
That's
them.
I know. Well, you were on a lot of them. You were involved in quite a bit. So we have paras, tech, and admin. If you can't do one or the other, you could just.
I'm doing admin as well, so
Yeah.
I think I'll have to add paras to my list.
You don't have to. So you can let me know
If you want, if you need help, and
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
Well, right now we have Smith, myself, and Barry.
Okay, then that's
So
fine.
I'm
Okay,
just
okay.
there
what I
as
could do?
pro.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yes.
What I could do
Yes.
is, I have that, I'll look at that list. I will email everybody tomorrow. I'll get dates, because I need to get dates with the 4 union groups so that we can move this forward. The reason this has to be done now is we can't delay.
Yeah.
And the fact that we have a changeover is just the reality, but I want to keep moving forward and get us going. So if that's okay, I'll email people tomorrow.
Okay.
And if you are not able to be on those committees, that's no problem, just let us know at that point. This way you have time to think about it tonight, and you'll hear from me tomorrow on this issue.
Okay. Any other comments on negotiations at this point?
So I just had a question.
Sure.
on the HR committee, because we have on the 26th, we have the budget committee.
Correct.
Is that right? So are we doing the 25th for the HR committee or not? Okay,
No.
I'm seeing the
We're
David
going to
shaking
cancel
his
that.
head. Okay.
We're going to cancel. We're going to cancel all committees until we if we restructure at the retreat.
Okay, got it.
And now that the retreat is, see, if the retreat stayed as the next Thursday, we wouldn't have this dilemma, but we'll be fine. We'll work it out.
Okay.
So we'll have committee restructure discussion at the retreat, committee assignments, and then we'll move forward in February with committees.
Okay.
Any other questions? No? Okay, then we close out board committee and liaison reports. And that also means the liaisons, not only just board committees. Okay, so now we have our second opportunity for public comment. Again, I will reemphasize, I refer back to the original comments statement that I made. Again, we will listen to each member of the public. Please state your name, your residence, your group affiliation, and to keep or limit your speech to 3 minutes. Anybody pre-registered?
We have no pre-registrations at this time.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on any matter? Yeah.
Hi, I'm Lisa Garwood. I live in Heathcote, Princeton Walk. Our country was founded in response to the shameful rule of the tyrant King George III.
Our founding fathers put together a government based on the Greek system of democracy because they learned from the king's shameful, cruel laws. They saw a shameful practice, learned from it, and created a model for the world. When the Constitution was written, it claimed all men are created equal. But by men, they only meant Christian land-owning men. A shameful moment for our country that needed to be resolved. Our country has been working ever since to right this wrong and be better. The many steps forward continue to make our country greater. When our country was first settled by Europeans, they brought with them the barbaric custom of slavery. Our founding fathers knew it was wrong, but knew the Constitution would not pass if they tried to eliminate the practice. Eventually, President Lincoln took a stand, spoke out against this shameful practice, and fought to end it. It was a moment of pride for our nation. Jim Crow laws were then implemented in the South. It took until 1964, our fight for civil rights, to rid the country of the Jim Crow laws. Our citizens recognized a shameful practice and fought hard to right it. Our country was not perfect, is not perfect, but made impressive strides forward and was respected by the world for correcting a wrong. I could go on and on about shameful moments in our history, how we learned from them, and how we improved and continue to do so. Studying our worst brings opportunities to be our best. So I ask Ms. Ferrara, when you post, quote, "A nation dies when its people are taught to hate their own history, heritage, and culture," what exactly are you speaking of in terms of curriculum? Exactly what would you censor? Is this censorship upholding the priorities of our community or your personal agenda? I know you can't answer me here and now, but I do ask the board to remember Ms. Ferrara's censorship position moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Is there any? Okay.
Patricia E. Stanley, 7 Hudson Court, Franklin Township. One of the things that I think this board should remember is that there is a growing throughout the state, throughout every municipality, a growing understanding that the boards of education, in terms of how they're implementing the standards that come down from the state of New Jersey and the New Jersey Department of Education, and the policy numbers, and I point to policy number 5756, where it says parental consent is not required. So I point you, and I also just say, keep in the back of your mind that school choice is coming because parents throughout the state are seeing what's going on in the school systems. They're seeing that parental rights are being disregarded, that parental rights and parental ideas. And I point to Mrs. Ferrara because I think that Mr. Ferrara, when she speaks up, she's speaking common sense. And that's one of the things that's not happening, and it's all over in municipality after municipality in every county. And the other thing I want to ask Mr., I think it's Pawlowski. I spent 6 years on Franklin Township's board. We had a budget of over $200 million. We had about maybe 8,000 kids. So that means we were spending in a gross fashion over $23,000 per child. And the municipality school systems are constantly asking for money. When the charter schools are giving almost a better education for way less money. So something's wrong. And I ask you, as individual members of these boards, you're just one illustration of a board. I ask you to really stop and think, are you spending our money efficiently? And I speak to you as a citizen of New Jersey. I also speak to you as a person who knows that over in Franklin, they went and had 400 seats 2 years ago for the preschool. And we couldn't pay for it at that time. We took it out of our own money. So I just ask you to keep your minds open and to be very objective, and that every person on this board is entitled to an opinion, and it would behoove you to listen to when the public speaks. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to make a public comment?
Just real quick, Mrs. President, the South Brunswick Township Board of Education's overall budget is about $156 million, and we also educate about 8,500 kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you. Okay, with that, I will close the public comment opportunity, a second opportunity for the public. Okay, and with that, we have moved to adjournment. So, who would like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll move it.
So moved. Second? Second. Fine. Is there any discussion or any comments that would like to be made before we close? Very good. Thank you. And so that means, oh yeah, that's right. All in favor to adjourn? Aye. Any nays? Very good. Thank you, South Brunswick, and have a good evening.